Welcome to Innerji, Tarot, Astrology and all things metaphysical. Hi, I'm Leslie Levy. But let's jump straight into this week's reading with astrology. So let's begin. So we're looking at the week commencing the 31st of August. Now that's a Monday here in Australia where I am. It may be a Sunday if you live in a different part of the world. And we have a lot of earth energy around us this week and a lot of cardinal energy. We have Mercury in its home sign of Virgo. We have Saturn in its home sign of Capricorn. We have Mars in its home sign of Aries. So these are all pretty strong planets that we have here. And as they each sit in their home signs, then they have more of an influence, a stronger influence than perhaps some of the other planets. Now this energy with Mercury in Virgo is about our thoughts, our ideas, how we communicate, and it's all around the details, around getting organized, around the routines and the day-to-day things that we do at home and at work. So it's a week where we don't want to ignore these details. It's also a week for very direct and serious conversations because of Saturn in Capricorn. Saturn is more serious, more constricting, and the sign of Capricorn is about structure and it's earthy as well. So the important thing about these direct and serious conversations is just to not get too picky about them. That way you'll achieve a better outcome. Now let's look at Saturn. Saturn is continuing its restricting influence all this week and in fact beyond because it's still in Capricorn for quite some time yet through until December. And it's also in aspect with 4 other planets. So when it's in aspect, it means it has relationship with 4 other planets this week. And those 4 other planets are Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. Now Saturn is also trine, which means it's in harmony with Mercury in Virgo. And so those serious conversations that I just mentioned around the practical details and the daily routines are really going to be on your mind this week. But just be a little bit careful because on Thursday, the Sun in Virgo is opposing Mercury. So you can expect a little bit of a feeling of confusion about what you're thinking, about the ideas that you have. You're going to lack some clarity. So that was probably not the best time to be making big decisions. So just be aware of that. However, Saturn is opposing Venus. So you can expect some resistance from loved ones this week with this opposition because this opposition does last for the entire week. And so that can create a little bit of tension with loved ones, a little bit of tension within the family. Now, this is also intensified because Saturn is squaring or challenging Mars in Aries. And so that means that family resistance, that tension within the family and with loved ones could actually flare up into some unexpected arguments. So forewarned is forearmed. And Saturn is conjunct Jupiter. They're both retrograde and they're both in Capricorn. Now, Jupiter is not happy in Capricorn because Capricorn restricts Jupiter. It's called being in detriment. So it means that the planet there is quite weak. And of course, Saturn there, even though it's retrograde, is very, very strong in comparison to Jupiter. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means that any hopes that you had of being able to get out and about, look at the big picture, expand on what you were doing is going to be somewhat restricted. And you might feel a little bit frustrated with this restriction if it comes from other people as well. Now let's look at Mars a bit more. As I mentioned, Mars is squaring Saturn. Now Mars is getting out and about. It's about doing your own thing. It's a very strong energy of being independent, a bit gung-ho and just jumping in there and getting things done. And so because it's squaring Saturn, which is all about containment, restriction, reducing that sense of freedom, it is going to be a little bit harder for you just to jump in and do things without thinking about it. So what Saturn is saying here is that it really is good just to take a moment's pause before you jump in and do something and consider the consequences of what you're doing, because this Mars energy is slightly stronger than Saturn. So there may be a tendency for you to go, oh, I really don't care, I'm going to do it anyway. So make sure you think through the consequences of any actions you take this week, particularly around organizing, around looking at the details, around the day-to-day stuff. Now on Tuesday, Mars is sextile the moon. And so when a planet is sextile with another, it means there's an opportunity. So for you on Tuesday, being sextile with the moon in Aquarius, and Aquarius is about innovation. It's about advocating for others. This Aquarian energy is about being a bit of a rebel, but being really innovative as well. And so with Mars sextile the moon, you are going to be more innovative. You are going to actually take action on some new innovative ideas, because remember, we've got Mercury and the Sun in Virgo. So you're going to look at these ideas and you're going to look at the detail of them and find new innovative ways of taking action. Even though Saturn is restricting us somewhat, this is still going to be looking good for you on Tuesday. But look out on Sunday, because we have both the moon and Mars in Aries, and they are conjunct, which means they are next to each other. So there will be some strong, fiery and explosive Mars emotions challenging Venus as well. And Venus over here is in Cancer. So there is again the potential on Sunday for some family arguments, for opposing ideas, for difficulties within the family, around any serious conversations that you may have, especially around finance, because Venus not only rules art, love, relationships, beauty, artistry, it's also the ruler of money and finances and the physical assets that we have in our lives. So just be aware of that. And let's move on to Venus. And so it's really important for you to focus on the little itty-bitty details of that this week, perhaps looking at your family spending. But Mars in Aries is squaring Venus in Cancer all week. So there is going to be, again, tempers flaring up, perhaps around money issues, around the budget, around spending. So when you are having these serious conversations with Mercury in Virgo and the Sun in Virgo, and you're talking about the details, just be aware that you might have quite an explosive response. And Venus is really still in Cancer at the moment. It's going to be in Cancer for another week or so, I believe. And so with Venus in Cancer, it is all about love relationships, family relationships, family finances, finances with your loved one. Now this will become less challenging on Friday, because Venus is then trine or in harmony with the moon. And the moon has moved into Aries. So the moon has a much stronger energy here in Aries, in that there's going to be a need to want to do things. There's going to be a need to want to get out there. And the good thing is that with Venus in Cancer trining the moon in Mars, it means that you have a better opportunity to get into those deep conversations with loved ones in a more positive way than earlier in the week. So it is a better time to discuss those family finances that are ruled by Venus, and sorting out the nagging details around your budgeting, around your expenditure. Now let's talk about the moon. The moon is in Aquarius on Monday and Tuesday. So again, you might be feeling like a bit of a rebel and wanting to break out of the normal day-to-day routine, which is highlighted with both the Sun and Mercury in Virgo. Now on Wednesday, the moon is in Pisces and stays there through until Thursday. And on Wednesday, we also have the full moon in Pisces. So the full moon in Pisces on Wednesday is a great time to become more intuitive, to use your intuitive skills around some moon rituals to connect with your spirit guides, to connect with the divine, to connect with the divine feminine of the moon. But there'll be more about that in my special video on the moon in Pisces, the full moon for Wednesday. Tuesday, if you're in another part of the world. So with the moon in Pisces on Wednesday and Thursdays, there is a tendency to be a bit less focused, a little bit less earthy, even though we have such a strong earth theme for the week and such a strong direct cardinal theme for the week. This is the day where you're going to feel a little bit more daydreamy, and this is a good day to use your imagination in a positive way to come up with some of those ideas to perhaps solve those nitty-gritty problems of Mercury in Virgo and Sun in Virgo that you may be having, and coming up with creative solutions around improving your daily routines. So from Friday to Sunday, the moon moves into Aries. Now you'll feel a strong need to get out of the everyday routines. You know, they're going to seem a little bit boring by the time you get to the weekend, and you're going to want to get out and do something on your own, something independent, because Aries is a very independent sign. It's cardinal fire. It's out there taking action, this energy. So you are going to be drawn to say, I'm not doing any more chores, I'm not doing any more budgeting, I'm not worrying about the finances, I'm going to get out and do something for me. So all in all, a week where we are looking at the practicalities, we're looking at the details and having those deep conversations with family around finances, around the day-to-day routine.